Hi everybody, how you doing today? My name's Gloria and welcome back to Gloria's Crafts. Today we're going to be making a couple different trees for your decor. So you're going to need a book, okay? Any book you have. This was my son's. He doesn't read it anymore and we've all read it. So I'm going to show you the first craft. For this craft, you're going to want to take the cover off, okay? You can do the whole book, part of the book, it's entirely up to you. But you're going to take the first page and you're going to fold it down, just like that. Then you're going to take the same first page and you're going to do this into a point. And you are going to continue to do this throughout the book. So you take your next page, you fold it down. You can get books at the Dollartree if you're not interested in reading them and do this craft. So it's very, very easy, okay? So you can take the cover off the front and the back. You take the book page, you fold it down, and you fold this over, and it starts to take the shape of your Christmas tree, okay? So here's what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like when you folded all the pages to the book. Okay? So I have this tree. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the book tree. And I have green paint. It's called New Shamrock. I think it's way too green. And I have celery, so I'm going to mix them together till I get a color that I like on my paper plate. So I'm going to take some of this paint, and since I'm doing trees, I don't mind if I have a little too much. Then I'm going to take the celery paint and I'm going to dump some on, not exactly in the middle of, and I'm going to start blending them together to see if I like the color that it turns out. I don't want it as green as it first was. I thought that was way too much green, so I am mixing together these two colors. To get a prettier color of green, the celery and the shamrock. I got the celery paint and the shamrock paint from Walmart. The book I'm using right here, I got from the Dollar Tree. But it took me about an hour to fold the pages, and it's very relaxing. As you watch TV, you can do that. So this is a decent color. So I'm going to start applying it to my tree. You can do any colors you want. I originally was thinking white spray paint, and then I changed my mind. So all I'm doing is painting the entire tree, top to bottom, with the color that I created with the paints. You can do each individual page if you would like. I'm just doing, I'd like some of the book to show through. I think it's very pretty. I like to use things around my house that I have for decor. It's inexpensive, which is nice. So right now all I'm doing is going up and down, painting my book. This takes a little bit. I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch me paint this entire book, so I'm going to turn my camera off and then I will come back and show you what it looks like when I'm done painting the majority of the book. Here's the tree all dry. Okay? Now I'm going to take, these come in two. There's two ornaments on here. I have this lovely star. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue the star on top of the tree. So I hot glued the star into the tree. Now I'm going to get my spray that I have, spray adhesive, and I am going to put some of the unicorn disco on there. Okay, so I have my Gorilla adhesive spray. So when you use this, it dries fairly quickly for things to glue to it. So I'm going to spray, take my glitter, and start dumping it on my book. I have a paper plate to get the excess off. I'm going to spray some more on this side as I go. Put more glitter on my books. Oh, jeez, my pig is taking away my... Come back, piggy. Excuse me for a second. I'm sorry, the pig took off with my paper because that's what he does. I apologize for that. I'm back. I chased the pig. He didn't make such a fuss. So, back to what I was doing. Spraying, putting my glitter on. I'm doing it in sections so that I get it all on there. I am thinking of possibly leaving this on a table or something. I believe it would be a great conversation piece because I used a book. So here it is. Okay, I will show you in a moment when I clean up some of this glitter. Here's the tree, all done. I have it on a plate because I'm waiting for the Gorilla Glue to dry. So there's that. I think it looks wonderful. For craft number 2, we're still going to be using a book. And I got this color your own decor tree. What we're going to do is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this as a template in my book. So what I did was I traced everything, but I didn't want the star. So I traced here, here, and down, and around. Now you can get a template online. You can trace another form of a tree that you like. I like this one. And then I got my scissors and I started cutting. So you can take the page out if you'd like first. And I cut out what I traced. As close to the lines as possible. I apologize, my neighbor's dog is barking. Sorry for that. So I just went around the paper and cut out the tree. All the way up to the top. I didn't want that star there. So then I'm going to come down the other side and cut down here. You're going to need to cut out about, I'm making a little garland for my fireplace with these trees and burlap. So I'm thinking 4 or 5 of each tree, and then what you do is you fold it in the middle. Try to line up both your sides. Fold it in the middle. If they do not line up, you could always cut some more off. Okay, so what I did was I cut out a whole bunch of these trees. So what I'm going to do is, you could take a stapler or your hot glue gun, and you're going to put them inside each other, okay, in packs of 4 or 5. Okay, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of these. Okay, I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm going to go down the back of my tree and hot glue it. Now, if you decide to use a staples in here, I suggest you do 3 of them together, and then the top one, hot glue it on. So you want to line it up the way you had it folded. So that they're cohesive. Okay? So I'm taking 4 of these together. I'm putting glue down the center. Putting one on top of the other. Try to make it as perfect as you can. Probably be easier with a stapler, but I do not have one on me right now. So then I'm going to take these 2 packs together and run the glue down the middle and put the other ones on. Now, while we're waiting to do the other ones, I'm going to fold them in half and put them underneath the book to hold them down to keep their crease. So I have it underneath the book. So you're going to need 4 more of your little trees. Four more trees. Line them up. I would keep them probably together instead of taking them apart like I did, because then it's kind of a dickens to get it lined up better. So I would line them up and keep them lined up as you do this craft. But I push this down, flip it over, put more glue down the center, and push it down. More glue in the center. Fold it in half. If you don't like that it's not perfect and doesn't look cohesive, just take your scissors and start cutting, following the bottom one. To make them all uniform. Then I'm going to stick this under the book with the other one. That helps keep the crease. So you'll need 4 more. And you do the same thing. Put glue on it. Line it up as best you can to the one in front of it. And smooth it out. So I'm going to turn off the camera and do this for a little bit, and I'll be right back. Now that the trees are done, I took 3 pieces of burlap, cut them in a point at the bottom. I have my letters. It's a stencil I got from the Dollartree. I'm going to spell out J-O-Y on my little garland banner. I'm going to be using truffle paint, and I am also going to be using the unicorn diamond. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, unicorn disco on here. So, I'm using the truffle Waverly paint. So, all I'm going to do is lay my stencil, hopefully in the very middle. And I'm going to hold it down securely, and I'm just going to tap on there. Okay, so there's my J. It's a pretty snazzy J. Okay, so here's my J. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the glitter or not. Now I'm going to get a wash rag and wipe this off so that I can use it for the O and the Y. Okay, now point it side down. I'm going to put the O as best I can in the middle. Take my truffle brown paint and do the O. Here's the O. I'm going to get a rag again to wipe off my stencil. Once you wipe it off, you should dry it off because you just don't want any colors all over the place. So then I'm going to do the Y. Taking my stencil. I like how the letters aren't overbearing. And I'm going to tap out Y. So here is the Y. When this starts to dry, I believe I'm going to go in with a smaller paintbrush and make it a little darker in a moment or two. But first I have to wipe off my stencil with my rag. I'm going to wipe off the plate as best I can. Dry it off. Then I'm going to take my J again because I'd like this to be more pronounced. So I need to get a smaller tipped paintbrush to fix the J and make it more stand out more. I have several paintbrushes. Most of them come from the Dollartree. Excuse me. So I'm going to make my J look a little darker. So here's my J, and I'm just adding more paint to it to make my J a little darker. I was thinking of adding glitter, and now I'm thinking I don't really want that. Here's the O. You can close off your O if you'd like. Leave it open the way it was, the way the stencil had it. I closed mine, and then for the Y. I'm liking how this looks, how thin and understated it is. So there's the J-O-Y. That is going to be put aside so that we can work on our trees. So we have our trees that we hot glued and or stapled together. I'm going to take a pen and I would like to curl some of this is my preference, you don't have to do this. Just wanted to curve some of it in. Not a lot of detail. Curve the last one out. And then you could do the other side. Curve it in. Like I did the one side, you could leave it the way it is. It's entirely your preference. And then we're going to have to paint them. I'm thinking I would like to do just my moss color because I don't want my trees to be, it's not moss, I'm sorry, I apologize, it's celery. So I'm going to use the same plate with the green I had for our first project. Now I'm going to fold it together. Just paint the edges. I'm going to be painting the trunk a brown color, the truffle brown. I don't want to take away all the words that are on here. So I'm just lightly putting, it actually comes out that it's both the greens. If you need a little more, I'm actually dry brushing this on. And I am just doing mostly the edges of the trees. Put a little more down here. You don't want your brush covered in the paint. So I'm going to put this aside, grab the next grouping, on both sides. I like how it's got different colors. The one green, it has the celery, and then it has some of the darker green. So that is all I am doing to the trees. And then I'm going to do the trunks brown and possibly put some brown throughout the trees. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll be back when it's done. So I took 4 of the trees that I put together. 4, and then I'm doing each individual page on the tips with the green. And I just wanted to show you what I am doing. So I am just putting green. You have to be a little careful though, because of the fact that if you have too much paint on it, the pages will rip, so be a little delicate. And I am turning each page to make sure that there is some on all the tree where it sticks out. And then I set them aside to dry. And while they're drying, I'm painting the others. So there's 4 sets of 4 trees from the book. 4 pages in each set of trees. And right now, I am just trying to paint them. And then I'll set them aside to dry. And then I'm going to start with the trunk on the first book that I started. First pages. I keep saying book and I mean pages. My bad. So I just want, for the most part, a little bit of green on the pages. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to use the brown for the trunk. I'm just trying to get a little bit. Doesn't matter how much coverage you have on them. You can cover the whole book. Pages, pages, pages. Sorry, I keep saying book. And I am just doing the tips of the branches. And then once this is done, I will start doing the exact same thing with the brown. The truffle paint color. You can use any color you have. So this one's done. So this is what it looks like. Sorry, I keep saying so. That's how I process things. Like when I say okay, I process things that way. So I'm pulling the pages apart so that they don't stick. And I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. And I will start with the first book that was drying, pages that were drying, and do the trunk. So I will be back. I'll show you what it looks like when these are all done. I have this nautical rope that I got from the Dollar Tree, and it had basically 3 strands. It was very, very thick, so I took off this one strand of it. So I'm going to put it in the middle, right here, so I know where the middle is, and that is where I'm going to stick my O. Right in the middle. Right in the middle right there. Okay? And the Y, I would like to have like a hand in between. And then a hand in between and the J. And then I'm going to put my trees in the middle where the hand would be. Now you don't have to curl the pages like I thought we would, because they curl on their own. But don't forget, we're doing this upside down, so put your trees this way. Okay, see what I'm doing? I'm putting the trees upside down. And I'm going to get my finger protectors, because this is going to be hot. Hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot. And if I could find my finger protectors, that'd be great, but I can't. So we're going to use a popsicle stick. Okay? So I'm going to start with the first tree on the end here. I'm going to put a decent amount of glue on my tree. And I'm going to use my popsicle stick to push it down. And let that dry. Now I'm going to move to the Y. And I'm going to stick glue on the rope. I'm going to take the top part of my burlap, try not to burn myself, and put it around the Y. And I'm going to glue down here also so that it's secure. So I'm working backwards and also upside down. So there's the trees, the tree, and the Y. Remember, the glue is hot. Now I'm going to do another tree right over here, and I'm going to put glue on the back, put the rope on it, take my popsicle stick and push it down. Do not want to burn my hands. Then I'm going to do the O. So I'm going to put glue on the rope like we did on the Y. I'm going to take my popsicle stick and bring the burlap over. Try not to burn myself. And of course I need more glue. So I'm thinking of sticking this near my fireplace. We have an electric fireplace. It's not a real one. So I'm thinking of sticking this there. If I did have a real one, I would make sure it was up high because this is extremely flammable. So there's the O. If you have like a piece like this sticking up on your burlap, which I do on the Y also, I'm going to cut that off, just like that. Then I'm going to move this down some and glue my tree. Put some glue on the back of my tree right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then I'm going to push down with my popsicle stick. Then I'm going to move it over some for my J. Uh-oh. I need to switch my J and my Y, because even though I did it backwards, I spelled it J-O-Y, which when you turn it over, it'll be Y-O-J. So the O can stay. The O can stay. The Y needs to go. And thank goodness I figured this out. So I'm going to take off my Y carefully. Don't want to ruin the burlap. So I'm going to have to get my scissors to get the Y off. Okay, so I'll be right back. And here is the joy garland I made, the little paper trees. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Hopefully I'll see you again soon, and have a blessed day. Bye.